Hello guys, welcome to Online Web Tutor. I am Sanjay. We are learning Laravel 8 framework tutorial. This is our part number 87. Inside this video, we will see that how can we connect query builder and migration with multiple database connections. This is the continuation of part number 86. Inside last video, we had seen that how can we work with multiple database connections with our Laravel setup. So if I back to editor, now as we know that inside this .env file, we had defined two set of two database connections. After changing this .env file, next we had done inside this config database.php where we had defined a connection with the name MySQL and the second connection MySQL2. This MySQL is pointing towards, if I open, let's open up called .env file. So this is the MySQL which is pointing towards our first default database connection, which is something Laravel _blog _English. Now inside the same file, we have the second connection called MySQL_2. Now inside this connection, we have db_host_2, db_database_2. It means we are using the second set of values, and inside this second value of connection strings, we have the second database. In the last video, we had seen also that how can we configure our models to use or utilize our second databases. Now inside this case, we will see that how can we use the concept of multiple database with query builder class. So back to our app, http, open up the file called sample controller. Now inside this list students, I will get rid of all these things. Now firstly, to use query builder class, we need to import our db class from facades. So use db, and this db class is coming from eliminate, support, facades and db. So if we go inside this list students, so what I will do, I will use this db class. So let's say db table, and by default this db is pointing towards our first database, and the first database is pointing towards Laravel _blog _English, and this is the database. Inside this database we have students table. Inside this students table we have a single row entry. So go here, so db table, let's say students, and if I type here, let's say get, save all these changes. Now for the time being, if I comment this list products, now this is list students. If we go inside routes folder, web.php, and this is the route. So if I copy this list -students, which is pointing this list students method of sample controller, and inside this controller we have used query builder class to get all the data from students table. Save all these changes, go and reload this page, and as we can see that we are getting a collection object, and inside this object we have a single row entry. Now how can we connect our query builder with this products table, and this products table is inside second database. So as we had discussed that by default this db class is pointing towards our default database connection. So to understand, again if I open let's say .env file, so default database connection is pointing towards this Laravel _blog _English. So first of all, we need to change the connection of this query builder class. So how can we change? If we go and uncomment this list products, go here and let's say db, after db scope resolution operator, we have one more method with the name called connection, and inside this connection we need to pass the second database connection name. So keep in mind the connection we have defined inside this database.php file. So this is the default connection, and in the second we have defined MySQL_2. If you are wondering that what actually we are doing. All these things actually we had done in the last video. So I will copy this second database connection name, go inside this sample controller. I am passing it here, and next let's say table. Here we have our products table, and I will use get method. So if we save all these changes, go here, the route to list all the products is something list-products. So if I go and reload this page, now as we can see that we are getting a collection object. Inside this object we have two rows like product 1 and product 2. If suppose while passing this connection, if we have misspelled to something else and this connection does not exist in our application, if we go and reload this page, as we can see that here we are getting error something called database connection MySQL 5 not configured. So go and undo these changes. So successfully, as we can see that we have configured and connected our query builder called DB to second database. The very simple step is that we need to use a connection method. Now next, let's say that we want to create migration file. So how to create? Already we had discussed inside this course that how can we create migration file, how can we add number of columns and migrate to our database. So back to terminal, and to create a migration file, so let's say PHP artisan make migration, and let's say that employee. So first of all, before creating that, if I back to table, go and reload that. So here inside this table we don't have any employees table. Again go inside that, and here also don't we have like employees table, so we can easily create that. So this is something migration. Let's say create employee table. So if I press enter, as we can see that migration created successfully. So if I back to editor, as we know that after creating all the migrations, it will go and store inside this database migrations, and here is the migration file called create employee table. Inside this migration file we have two methods called up and down method. Now let's say that we want to add few columns inside this employee table. So let's say table, this is going to contain the name of the employee, so name, and also let's say 50 characters in length. Table, next we have another column called email, 50 characters, and also it will contain the unique value. So if we save all these changes, and the table name should be plural, so here it will be something employees. Now if I back to our terminal, if we want to run all the migrations, the simple command is something PHP artisan and type migrate. So when we run this PHP artisan migrate command, it will go and migrate this file to default database. And as we know that the default database is something pointing towards MySQL connection, and it will go and create employees table inside this database. So let's see that. So if I press enter, migration migrated created successfully. Go here, reload this database, and as we can see that here we have employees table, the columns what we have added. But in some cases, if we want to create this employees table inside this second database, we are not interested to create this table inside this default database. So how can we use this second database? Back to editor. Now after this schema scope resolution operator, we have again a method called connection. Inside this connection method, we need to pass our second database connection name, and as we know that we have the name called MySQL_2. after changing all these things, if we go here and type PHP artisan migrate, so after running this command, the schema is going to check inside this connection this table exists or not. So as we know that inside this connection we have this database, and inside this database we don't have any employees table. So if we go and run this command, nothing to migrate, and this is because as we know that we have created employees table inside this database. So first of all we need to roll back, so PHP artisan migrate and type rollback command. Now we have deleted or dropped our employees table from this database. Now if we go and run this command called PHP artisan migrate, as we can see that employees table has been created. So if we go inside this first database, we don't have any employees table. But when we go inside this database 2, go and reload, and as we can see that we have a employees table. So this is how can we use the second database connection concept in migration. And also if we want to roll back the table from the second database, same we need to use the connection method inside this down method as well, so that when we run our command called PHP artisan migrate rollback, it will go and drop this employees table from this connection. So successfully guys, as we had seen that how can we use multiple database connections inside a Laravel application. Inside that we have configured model, query builder as well as migration. So for this video session guys, thank you for watching and have a great day.